Well, all right, welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world famous As It Should Be studios, and doing another Monday video, huh? Look, check me out. 2 Mondays in a row with a Monday video. How crazy is this? All right, well, I'm going to do another track versus track video, and I kind of was going, I have this list of all these pairings that I came up with, and I'm going over it, and everything's just like, I've done a 10,000 Kiss track versus track, another Beatles, yeah, so I was having trouble kind of figuring out what I wanted to do, and I decided to do Simon & Garfunkel. I pretty recently did a Simon & Garfunkel album ranking, and so I decided to do it's track versus track, Sounds of Silence versus Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Yeah, the two 1966 albums going up against one another. And, well, this album, Parsley, Sage, actually has one more track. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off Silent Night at the end, which is, you know, that track's a throwaway as far as I'm concerned anyway. And so, yeah, dumping that track from this, and that makes the track number match up between these albums. So that's how we're doing this. Okay. But before we get started, get my tally sheet going. So, Silence and Parsley. All right, let's get going. All right, have my track lists over here. All right, so track number 1 on Sounds of Silence is, of course, the title track, Sounds of Silence. And that goes up against track number 1 on Parsley Sage, which is Scarborough Fair. You know, Scarborough Fair / Canticle or whatever. Scarborough Fair. Well, that is two absolute titans up against each other. That should be... I should be sitting here and hemming and hawing and belly aching over this for like 5 solid minutes before choosing. But you know what? I'm not going to do that. I know exactly what I'm going to choose. I really love both these songs, but there's an immediate winner for me. Scarborough Fair. Yes, and I mean, obviously, I love Sounds of Silence, and it's one of their greatest songs. I can't overstate how much I love that track. But Scarborough Fair? Oh. Whew. Yeah. So there you go. All right, so track number 2 on Sounds of Silence is Leaves That Are Green. Yeah, that track. I have always had a really special place in my heart for this track. The first Simon & Garfunkel album that I ever knew as a whole was this album, Sounds of Silence. And you know, I was probably about 17 when I first heard this album, but I just remember being 21 and 22, the ages discussed in the song, and listening to this record and hearing this song and being like, wow, I'm living this song. Oh my God. And, you know, it's kind of, you know, a dorky, you know, kid, youthful sort of memory. That's kind of, you know, cute now, I guess, to think back about. But at the same time, stuff like that really does kind of, you know, can run deep. And yeah, so I've always had like a really special place in my heart about this song. Anyway, the song is going up against number 2 on Parsley Sage, which is Patterns. That's another easy one. This shouldn't surprise you. Leaves That Are Green gets that. Patterns I like, but it's not one of my favorites. Yeah, I mean, it's a good track. There are certain, when you go to a track listing on an album, there are certain songs that really stand out strong on their own. You can take them out of the context of the album and just have it just be this song standing on its own. And Patterns for me only is strong in the context of the album. The song on its own is just kind of like, whatever. Leaves That Are Green wins. Okay. Track number 3 on Sounds of Silence is Blessed. And that goes against track number 3 on Parsley Sage, which is Cloudy. Yeah, Cloudy. It's a little bit more of a thinker, but you know what? I think I know what I'm going to go for. Cloudy. Oh, you know, and actually, before I go any further, I should say, I actually like Sounds of Silence more. I'm more of a fan. I rank that album higher than Parsley Sage. So, we'll see how it goes. So far, Parsley is winning, so. Alright, so track number 4 is Kathy's song. Track number 4 on Sounds of Silence against track number 4 on Parsley Sage, which is Homeward Bound. Homeward Bound, which was originally on the UK Sounds of Silence, and then they put it on the US Parsley Sage, and the UK Parsley Sage just is down that one. It's one track shorter. For those of you who don't know, I mentioned it in my album ranking video, but I'm mentioning it here too. Anyway, Kathy's song versus Homeward Bound, and that's an easy one too. These are fairly easy. These are fairly easy. Kathy's song. All right, we have a tie so far. Yeah, Kathy's song. That's one of my very favorite Simon & Garfunkel tracks. All right, so track number 5 on Sounds of Silence, Somewhere They Can't Find Me, versus track number 5 on Parsley Sage, which is the Big Bright Green Take 2. The Big Bright Green Pleasure Machine. Okay. Okay, Somewhere They Can't Find Me versus Big Bright Green. That's pretty easy. Somewhere They Can't Find Me. Yeah, Sounds of Silence gets that. Big Bright Green is another one of those songs that, you know, it's fun in the context of the album, but as a standalone song, it's not really that great. It's just kind of a, whatever. And they used it in The Graduate as background music when Benjamin and Elaine, when Benjamin and Elaine are on their date and they're having burgers and they're sitting, you know, in the car eating burgers, that music is playing in the background. A totally different version, by the way, an entirely different version from the one that's on this album. But anyway, still an okay song. Track number 6 on Sounds of Silence is Angie. And that's going up against track number 6 on Parsley Sage, which is 59th Street Bridge Song. Obviously, this is an easy one. Angie is a bit of a, kind of a throwaway, short instrumental track that's really kind of a continuation of Somewhere They Can't Find Me in a way. It has the same little lick. It's based on the same exact guitar lick. So, I mean, it's not exactly a substantial track. So, obviously, 59th Street gets that. These albums are really, really, I mean, like, they're going back, they keep going back to a tie. We're at a tie again. All right, so track number 7 on Sounds of Silence is Richard Cory, which, interestingly enough, I first knew that song from the Wings Over America album. Yeah, I mean, a lot of you people probably know this. They did a cover. McCartney and Wings did a cover of Richard Cory on the Wings Over America album, and that's where I first knew the song. When I first heard this album, I was like, "Oh wow, this is." I didn't know that this is where that song was from. So there you go. And that goes up against track number 7 on Parsley Sage, which is The Dangling Conversation. Another easy one. These are turning out to be pretty damn easy. Well, Dangling Conversation. Parsley Sage gets that. Now Parsley Sage is ahead. Yeah, Dangling Conversation is easily one of my favorite songs on this album. So number 8. Track number 8 on Sounds of Silence is A Most Peculiar Man. And that goes up against track number 8 on Parsley Sage, which is Flowers Never Bend with the Rainfall. And, I'm going with Flowers Never Bend. Man, Sounds of Silence is my favorite album of the two, but so far Parsley has 5 and Silence has 3, so... Let's see how this goes. All right, so track number 9 on Sounds of Silence is April Come She Will. Oh man. Against track number 9 on Parsley Sage, which is a simple, desultory Philippic. Another one of those kind of throwaway, upbeat, kind of, kind of not very serious kind of songs. Yeah. No contest. April Come She Will by a mile, by 10 miles. 10,000 miles. Okay, all right, so track number 10 on Sounds of Silence is We've Got a Groovy Thing Going. We've got a groovy thing going, baby. Versus number 10 on Parsley Sage, which is For Emily Whenever I May Find Her. Oh. This is actually a contest here. I have to think about this one for a second. Or do I? Okay, I really, really love both these tracks. But you know what? I'm going for Emily because as much as I love both of the tracks, For Emily's just better. We've Got a Groovy Thing Going, Baby is like, it's just kind of a throwaway track that I just really like a lot. It's nowhere near as good of a song as For Emily Wherever I May Find Her. So, all right, or Whenever I May Find Her. Ugh. All right, so anyway, that is that. Track number 11, Sounds of Silence, the final track on Sounds of Silence, I Am a Rock. Okay, and that goes up against track number 11 on Parsley Sage, the penultimate track on that album, but again, remember, we're dumping Silent Night. But track number 11 on that album is A Poem on the Underground Wall. You know what? I'm going Poem on the Underground Wall. Now, I think, when I was in high school or in my 20s, long time ago, I would have chosen I'm a Rock. But over time, I'm a Rock starts to lose its luster because I've just heard it way too much. And people go, well, that isn't the fault of the song. The song isn't any less of a song just because you're tired of it. Yeah, that's true, but being overexposed to a song does color how I perceive the song. And right now, if somebody said, do you want me to put on I Am a Rock to listen to, or do you want to put on Poem on the Underground Wall? I'd say put on Poem on the Underground Wall. And that's kind of what I'm basing this on. I'm not going, what is objectively a better song? What would I have liked better before I was sick of this song? No. How do I feel about these two tracks right here, right now, going up against each other? And, Poem. All right, so anyway, so what we have here, Parsley won by quite a bit. Silence got 4, and Parsley got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yeah, overall, I absolutely... not even by a little, way prefer Sounds of Silence as an overall album, but Parsley Sage kind of wiped the floor with it, didn't it, in this track versus track battle. And that's another thing I want to point out that I think I've never really have, whenever I've done these videos. The object of the game really isn't about which album wins in the end. It's really just kind of like getting there. It's about the individual matchups. Because this isn't a really effective way to truly put two albums against one another to see which one is better. It's really just about the individual matchups and just how it's fun to see what will win out. And I like to do it without really thinking ahead of time what tracks are there, so I can kind of like on the fly, right here live on camera, kind of have to come up with a quick decision. And that's the fun of it, really. It isn't really about which album is better or which album is going to win the battle. It's about the individual track pairings. All right, so anyway, all of that said, thank you. Thank you very much for watching the video, and thank you for watching all the videos, and thank you for subscribing if you have, but if you haven't, you might want to consider subscribing. If you do, click the little bell. Crystal's not here to ring her little bell, but you know what I'm saying. Special shout out to Ralph Vieira of the Almost Human channel. He's the one who started the whole track versus track mayhem, and he was very cool about me stealing his idea. I salute him. And but come back on Thursday because Crystal Durant and Tommy Von Boyd are going to be back, and we're going to be continuing our Albums of the Year series. And this week we're going to be doing the albums of 1984. Yeah, 1984. And come back and see how that goes. All right, everybody, I will be talking to you soon.